All right, welcome back to the Now Morning Show here on TTT. Switching gears a little bit, but don't worry, we do have with us this morning the Canadian High Commissioner, His Excellency Kumar Gupta, who is here to talk to us about Educanada Virtual Fair. But before we get into that, good morning to you, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for being with us here this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And you were telling me that you've spent three of your assignments in Africa. Talk to us a little bit about that, because you must have heard the conversations we were having celebrating African History Month and just how important that is.
It's really very interesting. My former assignments included Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Ethiopia, so different parts of Africa.
Yeah.
And there's so much African culture. It just felt like a really great connection to connect the experiences in those parts of Africa with the African culture in Trinidad and Tobago. It's really impressive.
And I mean, you do have an African diaspora in Canada as well. So then the connection continues.
Absolutely.
But you're here to talk to us about Educanada Virtual Fair. What is this fair about?
Well, I'm going to start by situating the fair in the broader Canada-Trinidad and Tobago relations. So Trinidad and Tobago is a very close, we consider TNT a close friend of Canada. We work closely in a number of areas: security cooperation, shared prosperity, public health, of course. Now we're all working together on that. And for me, most importantly, the people-to-people linkages. And the Educanada Fair is central to that. There's so many Trini Canadians, Trinbagonians, however you look at it, who have studied in Canada. And we are so pleased to be able to welcome more Trinbagonians to Canada to study every year. And the Educanada Fair, which is this Sunday, is a key way of helping the Trinbagonian families, the youth, to get to know what the options and opportunities are. So this fair, it's a virtual fair. Unfortunately, pre-pandemic, it was an in-person fair. Is 10 to 6 p.m. this Sunday. To register for the fair, there's a website, www.educanada.ca, and there will be about 20 Canadian institutions present. So it's an opportunity for participants to interact and understand. I'm interested in medicine, engineering, whatever.
So this is an opportunity to help them to learn about the programs, but also how to go through the process.
Correct.
So to be able to get that connectivity and that networking, so that if you're interested in going to Canada to learn medicine, then you understand how to go about doing so.
Well, you understand which schools offer it,
yeah.
And then what is the process around applying, etc. Also, officials from our immigration section will be present throughout the day or during the day, and they'll be able to answer any questions that people have, how to navigate that and get the correct study permits and the study permit application process.
Yeah. What inspired this, though, to get this Educanada Fair going?
It's been going on for many years around the world, and I think we really welcome international students. When I studied many years ago, we had international students, and they were the amongst the best students we had. So I think the Canadian government as well as the universities realize that this is an opportunity.
Yeah. And, it's interesting that you say that, because, as you said, there's a huge Trinbagonian diaspora in Canada, and so this may also expand that as well. But what about doing it the other way, that to have Canadians come to Trinidad and Tobago and to also get those opportunities? I mean, it's a different culture. It's Caribbean. It's very tropical. Are we going to be seeing anything like that anytime soon?
Well, we are working on connections between Canadian universities and UE or UTT or others in the Caribbean, and that could take us in that direction. I think it's a institution-to-institution conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be really, nice. But
you mentioned that there are so many Canadians with connections to Trinidad.
Yes.
And we estimate there to be about 100,000 people who have a connection with Trinidad in Canada. We estimate there to be about 10,000 Canadians here. So the linkages are there. They're growing every day. And whether it's somebody who's a dual national or has family in Canada or studied in Canada, that's for me the foundation of the people-to-people relationship.
But apart from, you know, accepting international students and growing that population, what is the end goal of this? What is it that, you know, what is trying to be achieved here with this Educanada Fair and having that kind of exchange?
I think it's fun for me. Fundamentally, it's about strengthening that relationship. You know, I was at a meeting a few weeks ago, and the one of the senior officials, I'm an Acadia man. Acadia is a university close to where I grew up, and immediately there was a connection, and that connection it meant a lot to me, and I'm sure it meant a lot to him.
Right.
So it's a lot about just consolidating and cementing our friendship.
Right, and as you said, this relationship between Trinidad and Tobago and Canada is so old and continues to grow. I know that a lot of work was done with this country regarding COVID-19 pandemic, you know, so, and now we're looking at education at least. So Sunday, the Educanada Fair virtually, and I'm seeing here register at educanadacaribbeanfair.vfairs.com. So
thank you for that detail.
So you're saying that Canadians living in TNT, they can sign up and register as well?
Absolutely. Canadians living in TNT, Trinbagonians here, elsewhere. It's actually a regional fair for the whole Caribbean.
Yeah.
So, no, it's open.
Talk to us some more about who is going to be present to help with it. And you mentioned immigration officers, so if there are concerns about, you know, how to make that connectivity.
So we're going to have some representatives from our High Commission who liaise with the institutions. We'll have the recruitment officers from a number of the schools, as well as some colleagues from our immigration section.
Right.
You know, I mean, we definitely want Trinbagonians to come and study in Canada, and so we want to be able to facilitate that and help them understand, okay, well, this is how you navigate it.
Right.
You mentioned our cooperation on the area of COVID-19, and for better or for worse, of course, that is what is on everybody's mind every day. That's been a central part of our work with Trinidad and Tobago over the past 2 years.
Yeah.
In this year, in 2021, we contributed 6 million Canadian dollars to PAHO, the Pan American Health Organization, in tools and efforts to combat the COVID-19 pandemic. More recently, in August, we were able to contribute or share almost 80,000, or in fact, more than 80,000 doses of AZ for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And that was really important.
Yes, definitely, because we see, especially now, that the fight continues right across the world. And, you know, everybody's doing what they can to help each other to get through it.
Absolutely.
But, and in the midst of this, we still have to get on with the business of life.
That's very true.
And so here we're having this Educanada Fair. It's this Sunday, the 28th, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Correct.
Anybody can come and register for it. You said it's a regional fair.
Registration's open. It's free. Everybody's welcome to come in. I'll say listen, but also participate.
Yeah. So there will be an open forum at some point where they can field questions, get all their concerns addressed.
Correct. I mean, you know, it's not just person X from Queen's University talking about this is the process. It's like, okay, well, what are the questions? What challenges could there be? How do we get past those
Do we
challenges?
know all the schools who will be represented there on Sunday?
I do have a list. I don't have it off the top of my head, but I can share it with you a bit later. But I know there's from across Canada. I can give you the list, but these are schools that I don't want.
Well, universities.
Yes, universities and colleges. That's
studying
right.
at that level.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Do we do anything is below the right word, like at secondary level?
We do. I don't know off the top of my head if the secondary schools are represented on Sunday, but I can say that quite a few of my Trini friends are interested in sending their children to Canada during the secondary level, and that's also very important.
Right. Yeah. So that's something we might see being explored, with time to come.
Oh yeah, it's not. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to happen for sure. I have a number of people. Oh yeah, I went to high school in this school in Ontario, and in fact I happen to grow up in New Brunswick, but I know the schools that they're referring to. And these
Right.
people are ballpark my age. Like, oh, okay, so we're kind of peers.
Right. No, I know that, like, you're right, that for some Trinbagonians, the idea of a high school, you know, they want the children to get that exposure from even at that level of a different experience, a different culture. You know, it's international schooling. So, you know, I'd like to see what's going to happen with that. But for the colleges and universities, is there an age limit that we have in place, or is it just open to anybody who wants to study at that level?
As far as I know, there is no age limit. You could, you know, if you are 45 and you want to take up a degree as a mature student, you'd be very welcome to do so.
And what about cost, though, Commissioner? Is that something that there's help with, you know, financial aid for a foreign student who is coming to study in Canada?
The various schools have different scholarship systems in place. And so that would be, you know, best addressed with each individual institution, saying that, you know, this is the field I'd like to study in. What are the options? But
Okay.
there are possibilities.
Right, right. I was wondering if it was something at the High Commissioner level where, you know, are there scholarships at all for these kind of programs?
At the government level, there's one program related to the study I'm going to say it's a green scholarships program for the whole region in the field of environmental studies, environmental management.
And we can understand why, especially coming out of COP26,
Yep.
right?
Yep,
That
absolutely.
is definitely important. So that is something, is that something that will be discussed this Sunday or not necessarily?
I don't know if they're going to bring it up specifically, but I'm quite sure that the participants will raise the question, so it will be discussed.
Yeah, and as I said, when I listen to COP26 and see where we're at and where we need to be and, you know, what we have to do to get there, I think that would be a very, very critical part of the discussion at this time. Because there are people out there who are genuinely interested, you know, in green energy and in trying to do what they can to reduce carbon emissions. But let us go back to this Educanada Fair. So it's this Sunday, the 20th, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. All are welcomed to sign up. It is free. You'll be having some immigration experts there, a lot of different schools at the college and university levels to just share with people how they can go through the process if they want to come and study in Canada. But is there a cap on how many students are allowed to participate each year?
No, absolutely. It's everybody's welcome. I mean, and I would say we want the largest participation possible. And in the broadest sense, we hope to attract the most students possible.
Yeah. And then it's right across the region, so you might get
Exactly.
a good uptake.
We hope so. We hope so.
All right. So is there anything else you want to tell me before we go, Commissioner?
Just a couple points. One is on the, I wanted to share with you the good news that was announced last Friday. As of November 30th, the Government of Canada will recognize Sinopharm as a full, people with Sinopharm will be considered fully vaccinated as of November 30th. I think that's great news. It will help and facilitate the movement of Trinbagonians back and forth to Canada.
What other vaccines are acceptable to, as considered being fully vaccinated to travel to Canada apart from Sinopharm?
Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, J&J, Sinopharm, and two others, Covaxin, I believe, and Sinovac. They weren't widely used here, so it's right. Not particularly relevant to your viewers.
So it literally means that all the vaccines that we're using here in Trinidad and Tobago, if you're fully vaccinated, you can travel to Canada without any issues surrounding vaccination where that is concerned. But will they require that third additional primary dose to be considered fully vaccinated?
There's been no decision taken on that as far as I'm aware. I would say that, of course, to travel to Canada, you have to have a PCR test 72 hours in advance, just like when you're entering TNT. And I would encourage people who are seeking to travel to Canada, please check the Government of Canada website. That's www.canada.ca. These regulations change on very short notice.
And for sure.
And the last thing anybody wants to surprise the airport.
Any room for the unvaccinated to travel?
It's unvaccinated Canadians are able to travel, but they'll have to quarantine. Unvaccinated non-Canadians are not permitted at this stage.
Right.
It's unfortunate. It's the way of the world now in 2021.
And I don't think anybody can be upset with that. A government has the responsibility to protect its people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to raise is the orange shirt. I normally don't dress in a flashy orange T-shirt like this, but I'm sure you're aware, yesterday we kicked off the 16 days.
International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women.
Correct, correct. And I mean, I want to remind all of us that there's 349 other days where this issue is just as important. The efforts to combat gender-based violence, it's a top-level priority for the Government of Canada, for the High Commission, and for myself. We work with a number of CSOs here in TNT, as well as the government, to provide support or assistance to the most vulnerable of the vulnerable. So, for example, looking at the work of or the impact of GBV on migrant women and girls.
Yeah, and we are seeing with the pandemic that the amount of reports have increased substantially over the last 18 months. But I think the good news that I've heard so far in Trinidad and Tobago is that even though we've had more cases reported, is that for the last year compared to the similar period the year before, that the number is less of the amount of women who've lost their lives to domestic violence. So maybe a little headway being made.
I hope so. I hope so. With fingers crossed.
But Commissioner, I want to thank you so much for sharing with us this morning, and all the best for this fair. Remember, for those of you who are listening, you can sign up you can register at educanadacaribbeanfair.vfairs.com, and it's free, and all are welcome to sign up so that you can learn the process. If you want to study at college or university in Canada, they're welcoming each and every one of you. Your
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I hope to see all of you on Sunday.
Right. His Excellency Kumar Gupta there, High Commissioner for Canada to Trinidad and Tobago, sharing with us there. We take a break and we'll be back with more.